Ben.
Excuse me?
All right. Hello. Welcome, Pantheon fans. This is Pantheon PlusYou number 59.
Wow.
And we are very excited to be here. I am Draq, and my fellow hosts are Therek, the Eternal Lore Ranger, and NathanNapalm, the Paladin Puppeteer.
Hello.
And we had a super exciting stream tonight. I have to say, as the first stream where I have directly followed the Pantheon stream with the Pantheon PlusYou, I have a new respect for Minus, because that was super stressful getting all that video recorded and setting everything up. So Minus, if you're out there, yeah, love you.
Yeah. At the end of the stream, we were like, sing a song, Ronik. Sing a song, Ronik. We need more time to get the video.
We were begging Ronik for more to talk more.
It worked. It
did work. We almost got that song. Yeah, it almost worked.
Joppa gave us a few more moments there.
All right. So, lot to talk about tonight.
Yeah, where to begin?
Yeah. So Therek is our official note taker. So why don't we start off with you, Therek? Give us your overall thoughts on how it went tonight.
I mean, like I said, where to begin? But I mean, if I was to sort of funnel it into one overarching theme, I think that the theme was the scale of everything. You know, it was all about the size. It was all about how big the zone is, how the relative sizes of the inhabitants versus the trees versus the mountains. You know, that was. I'm sort of like left with that as we've just finished watching it, thinking about the scale of everything. And I think Joppa did a good job of expressing that. So I just, you know, in every shot that we saw, the flyovers like this and some of the concept art and all the other sort of actual Greybox pieces, there was always that reference point. There was a human or a halfling or something standing there, so you can kind of get a sense of it. So I was really blown away by that. Because it just, the sense of scale is important, and climbing is such a thing, right? So what do you guys think of that? Did that hit you too?
Yeah, Joppa said early on in the stream, he said, we're creating a world, right? And that's shades of Brad McQuaid, right? We create worlds, not games. And that's what, you know, we loved about EverQuest. That's what we love about, frankly, just MMOs in general, right? That's what part of what I think we've lost in MMOs is we've gotten to the point where we create these scripted games and they're not worlds, and so the scope and the size I think he said 20 minutes to cross the halfling zone from one end to the other. That is very exciting for me. One of the things that I loved about EverQuest was doing the Quanos to Freeport run. We used to do those, we call them naked runs, right? And you take all your level 1, take all your equipment off, and you get 40 of your guild members together, and you make the run, and first one to Freeport wins the prize or whatever. And so I see a lot of those future type of events and just, you know, silly group fun stuff that can happen when you have zones that are that huge.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you think, Nathan?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot about the size, right? Like how just kind of huge it is going to be, but also about a lot about the content within it, right? Like there's a lot going on there. There wasn't like wide empty plains. There was like stuff. There was interesting places that you'd want to explore, that you want to learn more about, and then the underwater thing, of course. You know, it's like we already got exploration really cool out in the world. We've got climbing. We've got which we knew was going to be in the game, but you know, they start talking about the, you know, swimming and things, you know, mysteries underneath the water. So it's like, that's what you want. You want people to be just completely infatuated with every angle of your world, for people to really get out there and try to see it all. So that's what I got from it. Just super exciting, awesome zones they're creating, which is super important.
Yeah, that swimming part was kind of surprising. I didn't expect that at all. I mean, I knew we were going to see Wild's End, but you think of the trees, you think of the heights, but the depths as well. That was a nice surprise because I didn't expect that.
Right, and I just keep looking at all this stuff, and I look at it differently, right? Because you know that everything's got depth to it. So I'm like, ooh, I want to climb that, and ooh, I want to climb that.
Yeah.
I want to climb everything, right?
And
right?
one of the things, yeah, totally. I mean, I want to fall from everything is what I want to do. But basically, they did mention that what did they say? Like, there's like, what was it? Like the diving. Shoot, I wrote it down too. It was like cliff diving or something like that they talked about. But anyway, yeah, no, you know what? Like, so I remember the old lore from the website and how it talked about all the different places, and I'm so glad that they revisited that piece that used to be up there where it talked about the gate, it talked about the Mad Moor, it talked about a couple other places. They added some new places as well, but I'm glad that they and the well pond was in there too. So we got a visual to go along with it now. We got like more depth to it because we already knew those details a little bit, but now we've seen it, and I love putting that visual to my mental image that I had.
So, what do you guys think about underwater stuff? In the past, I have not generally enjoyed underwater zones. They've been mostly the bane of my existence. And the worst underwater zone was absolutely Guild Wars 2, where it changed all your skills when you went underwater. That's the absolute worst. So, devs, if you're listening, please don't do that. I want to keep my skills when I go underwater. That was horrible. But EverQuest did underwater okay, but I just always dreaded it. What about you guys? What do you think about underwater?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Nathan, go ahead. I'll leave it. I was just gonna say I'll leave it to Nathan. He's got the more experience with this than I do.
Yeah, I usually don't. I don't usually like underwater things in general, right? There are some exceptions where it was done well, in my opinion, though. My mind goes in MMOs to Dark Age of Camelot, where when they released Trials of Atlantis, I know everybody hated the expansion, but going in some of those underwater places, they were just so vast, and there were so many new mobs down there, and you had to have a certain spell so you could breathe long enough to really explore it. And I really loved it. There'd be like underwater caverns, and I had a ton of fun exploring it. And the other one isn't an MMO, but still was really cool, was when I was playing Ocarina of Time back in the day, and I got those boots so I could explore underwater. I think you had to do some other stuff I don't remember. And there's that big lake in the game, and it was the first place I went. I want to go explore up under this lake and see what's down there. And I was going to every body of water and being like, what kind of secrets are under the water now that I can do that? So I think if it's done well, if it feels like exploration, like it's a secret, like you're looking at that water and you're like, I wish I could go down there and see what's down there. I know there's something cool down there, and then you just can't dive deep enough or whatever. And then you finally can, and you unlock that ability some way to be able to really explore. Then I think it's really cool.
Yeah. Well, and they mentioned Subnautica in the game.
Yes.
Joppa mentioned Subnautica, and I have to say it. I've said it like on the rewind a few times, but the Subnautica is an awesome game. It's the first one blew me away in terms of that feeling you're describing, Nathan, of exploring, just what's down there, what's in this nook and cranny that I can sort of see and barely get into. And I love that Joppa gets that feeling is I think great that they're going for that feeling.
Yeah, have you guys ever thought about in real life, right? Like a lake, not an ocean, like a lake, and you're like, man, if I had like a little tiny submarine and I could just I would totally go down that lake and check it out and see what's down there. And that's not going to be as interesting as an MMO. You're just going to find some boots and
Who knows what you'll find down there? A bunch of dead humanoid
dead
creatures.
Anything, right?
Yeah, a bunch of dead explorers, I think. But yeah, that's really exciting. I love the underwater stuff. And the other thing that I mentioned, that there was, something else he said that I really keyed into, talking about the experience of going on a hike, right? When you're out going on a hike and you look around and you see just all these little invites to adventure. And what it made me think of with the height and the scale of this zone is if you've ever been to the mountains, like in real life, like and seen mountains and how they make you feel when you see a mountain in real life. It gives you that sense of perspective and sense of place in the world. Like this area is huge, and you're gonna feel very small in this area, right? But the smaller you are, the more there is to the more places there are to go, the more things there are to see and heights to ascend to. And I think that is a comparable feeling to what I've in real life felt when I've been to the mountains and seen that. So I love that sort of comparison.
That's a good call out. Yeah, because like it's hard to feel like you're in, like, you don't want to feel like you're the king of the world, right? Like
Right.
you in an MMO, you want to feel like that the world is much bigger, scarier, and dangerous, more so than you can conquer, right? So that kind of scaling, and we've seen it a lot, right? Like a lot of things they've shown, right? Have shown this like gargantuan trees and just huge, and I think that kind of stuff, like you said, it just puts you in perspective, and it just helps you get immersed. If I'm allowed to say that word, it immerses you into the world that you're a small little thing in a huge universe.
Joppa says he remembers your quote: "Depth equals danger."
Yeah, man, that's Subnautica in a nutshell. Your whole quest in that game is to find ways to go deeper and deeper. I love that. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you guys think about the halflings and just that aspect of it? And I just really, for me, I love the juxtaposition between the halflings and the giants, right? So, and they put the runes of the giants, the biggest thing, with the tiny halflings. I just think that's hilarious. What do you guys think? There.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Therek.
I think it's smart, and it fits with what we know about their world design philosophy of using contrasts, right? JN talks about it a little bit when he says, he likes to use make sharp points of contrast to get his vision across. And I think this is what they're doing here with this, these giants that are so massive and the halflings being so small. And you're going to feel it more when you see it, when you feel it, experience that in person. But and just they mentioned 3,000 meters of elevation up and down is what they've given themselves, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Like there's no arguing that is quite the range. So. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, there's so much giant lore too. If you read the lore and you know about the giants, these are ones that I hadn't actually heard before. The name of them, and it's escaping me at the moment. But I know the Alvanan giants are a thing, and some of the other types of giants that are kicking around. But this is a new, at least from my recollection, a new type of giant. So maybe we'll get some lore on that.
Yeah, and I also want to point out the kind of history of the area itself in dealing with the giants, and that's why this or that, which I thought was really cool. And that's one of those things where as soon as you enter the world, it already has history. It already has things that have happened, and you got to kind of, like they were talking about that. I don't remember the exact words he used, but it was something to the effect of organic storytelling. He said a much prettier way. But that's the kind of thing that most MMOs are missing, right? Like, I'm not gonna name any names, but there's a lot of MMOs out there where it's just like, yeah, here's the world, is some trees, it's a forest, pretty cool, huh? And it's like, well, yeah, but there's no depth to it, there's no history, or it's just okay, it's a forest, right? So I really like that every time we hear about a zone, there's just this massive amount of weight behind why it exists, why it looks the way it does, what's happened there in the past, et cetera, et cetera. And that's once again, that's world building 101.
Mm-hmm. You know what else I like is every time we hear about a zone, we also hear about a dungeon, right? And so they're building their game around the group content, and it's still like, okay, so here we have a zone, and then here we have a dungeon, and they've already planned out that I can't remember what the Wraith dungeon is. The
gate.
It's the gate.
The gate, yeah. And so that's going to be one of the most difficult dungeons in the game. And they already have like in their mind what they want to do and like how to lay it out and stuff. And it's not like something that's going to be tacked on, 3 weeks before it goes live. Which I feel like I've played that game with MMOs way too many times. But like they're talking about it now when we're still in pre-alpha, and so they have a definite plan for how things are going to look and lots of dungeons and. That's just, for me, dungeon play is the ultimate MMO experience with me and 5 buddies, hitting the dungeon like we do with the MMORPG 101. It's just, there's not much more fun than that.
Yeah, it's the exploration. It's the trying to map it out in your head and learn it. Never knowing if there might be a named or a boss or how to deal with different encounters in the dungeons. I agree. And the fact that it sounds like you said, that this probably isn't 100% true, right, guys? I'm just saying it seems like that every zone's going to have some sort of dungeon type area, right? So don't take me to the bank on that. I'm just saying.
No inside information. We do not work for VR.
I'm just talking. I don't know any more than anybody else. But it does seem that way, right? And it's like that's super exciting because it's like, when the game launches, there'll be zones they're not going to tell us all the zones, right? There's going to be zones we don't even know exist until the game's out. We find our way there. So it'll be cool to get and be like, I bet you there's a dungeon here somewhere, right? Like, where is it? How hard is it? You know what I mean? Like, that stuff is super exciting to me. When people find it and they're like, I found something, so just knowing that that's possible, that we might be having that many different dungeons, super cool, man. Super freaking cool.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but didn't we get a little bit of a bean drop when they said that there's 12 zones in Kingsreach? Well, speaking of zones, and I wrote it down, but I may have misheard it, but I saw somebody in chat said the same thing. But so 12 zones of Kingsreach. That's kind of cool. Kind of interesting.
Was that a bean? I didn't know if that was a bean or not.
I correct me if I'm wrong, chat, or Joppa is in chat, but that is something that I thought I heard, but maybe it was
no. I definitely heard 12 zones. I just didn't know if we knew that before.
Okay, maybe we did.
I don't
maybe
think so. Maybe. I don't think so.
Anyway, that it's cool, and just watching chat, Joppa did note Overland dungeons included in when you were talking there, Nathan. So, yeah, good stuff.
Yep, and Chad is also holding you to 1 dungeon for every zone, Nathan, just FYI. All right, so now we get to hear from the community. That's the great thing about Pantheon PlusYou. It is a community show. We want to hear every person's opinion on the stream tonight. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what you thought about it. We want to hear your ideas. It's not just the 3 of us talking. It's a community show. And so, Therek, you want to paste the Discord link in there again? Everybody can hop in. Everybody can go to the green room and that Discord. And then we're going to go until everybody's gone. So everybody gets a voice. So get in there, hop in there, and get your number in line, and we'll get you on here, and you can tell us all about what you think about the dev stream tonight. Therek, you wanna grab somebody?
Yeah, so we've got 3 people in the green room, so there is lots of room. So if you have something you want to say, definitely don't be a stranger. So we will grab Maya first. She is a Pantheon Plus part of the crew and one of our friends. So let's bring Maya in. Hey, Maya, how are you?
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
What's going on?
I'm good. Crazy, but
Oh, my camera went nutty.
Yeah. So what'd you think?
I only caught the last part of it, so I was kind of upset to have missed the beginning.
Yeah. What did you think of the part you did see?
I'm extraordinarily impressed. I know you guys. I know. Well, I don't know if everybody does, but I'm going to be playing a halfling, so everything halfling all the time. I'm
So
good.
this is your home. You're going to be doing lots of swimming, lots of exploring,
Yep.
swimming in the well pond. Anything else about it that stuck out, or anything else that you were excited to see?
It's just the The
train them if
buildings
you don't
are
like them.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is some really good design for sure.
Yeah, some of that
Train them if you
concept
don't
art. I did a video a little while ago about Wild's End and using some
Train
of
them
that
if you don't
concept
like
art that they showed. Some of it, a lot of it was new, but there were a couple pieces there that were been around for a while. And if you read the details, like you read the fine
Train them if
print
you don't
on
like
those concept art, it's very cool because a lot of it is like the illumination from some of the lanterns comes
Train them if you
from
don't like
candle thorn roots and all kinds of different stuff. And Jared's artwork is amazing to begin with, but just the level of detail that comes in, and
Train
like the
them if you
one
don't
of
like
the halfling house. There's like a little stand off to the right of it, like on the bottom right, and you can actually like
Train them if
see
you
the
don't like
stuff that's in the case there, and it has names. So I mean, if you know all that stuff, if you know all those little details, when you see that, and I'm glad
Train
that they
them if
kind
you
of
don't like
expanded on that, saying how those are like rendered now. Like that's actually like gone from the concept art stage to a rendered asset that
Train
is
them if
ready
you
to
don't
be
like
sort of put into the game. So, when a game's end the end product is as close to the concept art as possible. I mean, from my perspective and my opinion would be that that's a pretty good thing.
Yeah, the fact that they showed us a shot of Unity at the end with kind of the progress to it, I thought that was super cool. It's not just, Jared making up stuff and then it never goes anywhere, right? It actually progresses all the way into Unity and it looks good.
Yeah, doesn't it look? It looks super similar to the original artwork too.
It
Like they do a
does.
good job of like translating that, which I always find the most impressive when you can see the. So we've been looking at the concept art for a minute, and then when you get to see, it's like this almost looks exactly what they had drawn before. When they were kind of visualizing what they want to look like. So that's super impressive too.
Yeah, and the other thing is I'm always impressed with, because when we started this whole thing and when they decided to go with Unity, right? I was really concerned about like how it was going to look, because I didn't know that much, but I knew Unity always meant cell phone games, and so because that's where you hear about it most, and so it kind of gets a bad rap that way. But it really looks good in Unity itself, and so. The concept art to the gray boxing to inside Unity with the graphics, it looks really good. And then he said like it's not even completed. There's still stuff to add and all kinds of extra art to be in there, so it's not even completed yet, and it looks really good.
Yeah, and that in between stage where they showed like the draw over, like the red line draw over sort of thing. That was interesting to me because it wasn't something I had no knowledge of that sort of in between step of the process, which is pretty cool because it makes more sense, right? It makes more sense when you give the artist the gray box scene and tell them to put their art over top of it, overlay it on top of it, and then go from there. I think that's just interesting to me to learn that.
Yeah, Morek said there's been a lot of great games made in Unity, and I'm not doubting that there has. It's just my lack of knowledge.
Yeah, that was me too. I was the same way. Whenever I saw that Unity logo, I was like, "Oh boy," But I've learned since then. I've learned that
Yeah.
Unity is so much more than that. I know. I hear it. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, the problem with Unity was that it's so accessible that unfortunately that means that a lot of bad stuff comes out of it too, because anybody can use it. Not anybody, but fairly easily people can learn how to use it and manipulate it and start making games on it. So we've seen quite a few crazily not good ones, but there's been some good ones too. Like apparently I just looked it up. Deus Ex: The Fall was made in it. That was a huge
Wow.
game by Square Enix for Eidos at the time. So there's been some big ones. So obviously a pretty powerful engine.
All right, Maya, is she still there?
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Perfect. Do you have any final thoughts?
Nobody else should play Halfling Druids. That's mine.
Maya has
I
called
see.
the singular halfling druid for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen.
Sorry, everybody else.
She was
but
on
actually-
P+U. Everybody saw.
Yep.
Called. Shotgun.
Yeah, she got dibs.
Dibs.
I know it's going to sound odd considering the fact that this is basically, blocked out, no details right here. But I can see the water and I can kind of see the character jumping off and like going swimming for just go shoot from one shore to the other.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
weird. It feels like home.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and this is like just take that feeling and amplify it by about 1,000, right? When we get to the final finished product, and I think you know why we're all here. That's it. We're here for that
Yeah.
feeling.
We're all only homeless for a little bit longer, guys. Just a little bit longer.
A little bit longer.
Weather the storm. We're almost home.
Yeah, we just a little longer at the shelter, and then we'll get our own place, the shelter of other MMOs.
Yeah, whatever shelter you're currently in. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Or maybe you're about to enter a new shelter here soon.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck, everybody.
Exactly. All right.
I like that, Desrin. Desrin says, Pantheon, we're almost home.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Very true.
Right on. Well, great talking to you, Maya. Thanks for stopping by.
Bye, Maya.
Yeah, have fun.
Okay, see ya. All right, the green room is filling up. We have a couple more people. So let's not leave Desrin until the last because he always ends up being on the caboose. So let's get Desrin in here. So Des, I am going to pull you in. So if you want to unmute yourself and get yourself ready.
Des took my place before I was a host on Pantheon. PlusYou.
Yeah.
I always used to be the last one.
The caboose, as it were.
The caboose.
Yes.
It's a badge of pride.
What's going on, man?
Hey guys,
Hey.
What's going on, man?
just having a good time. I've been anticipating the stream for a while. They've been teasing it a lot. A lot of hype around the stream, actually, from VR for sure.
Yeah, there was. You can tell that they're proud of this. This is a big reveal. This is the first time we've ever seen this area.
So did this stream change your mind? Are you switching to Halfling?
Well, I'm always really. I love all of the races. Honestly, I think they all have incredible backstories. The world setting is always really appealing to me. I'm sticking to Archai though. I still think they have the best of all worlds in them, and so no change for me. But on the culture side, I think the Halflings have a really fun, like how do they describe it? Like, oh man, the Lost Boys / Peter Pan kind of vibe. Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah. That Minus used to always quote that vibe. He liked that a lot. So I remember he would say that quite a bit. The Lost Boys and the Peter Pan sort of vibe. But one of the things you mentioned makes me think of another thing. We talked about contrasting size, right? Of the halflings, the giants, and the difference, but also the halflings in their sort of jovial personality, and then you look at the Mad Moor that we're seeing right now in the video, right? And it's this desolate, I think the way Joppa described it, the very first start of the stream, I actually wrote it down, a nightmarish landscape, right? So you don't think halfling and nightmarish landscape in the same sentence, but then when you put those two things together, you get this amazing contrast, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you think's going on with the Mad Moor? Joppa mentioned we might see some influence of that in the well pond. What do you think that's about?
No, I do have an idea, actually. I do have an idea. And this goes back to the old lore that was on the old website. There was talk of like a reptilian race in Wilds, and I don't know if they're still around, but in one of the concept art pieces, and they kind of went through it, they didn't mention it, but it was shown there was a reptilian temple in one of the concept art pieces. So that's my guess. Something to do with that.
Hey, Essen, if you're out there, snake people.
Oh, I didn't know we were going in that direction. I know a little bit about those snake people. I come from the South where they believe that stuff, so I do know a little bit about that.
Snake expert.
But I want to go back to the Lost Boys thing, right? Because I have to do it again. Hopefully it's the last time I have to reference this. But before I do this, I want to mention that Joppa sure does like that Zelda coffee mug, okay? Ocarina of Time, the Kokiri Forest, the children there, they stayed children forever, so they were kind of like halflings, and they wore that same kind of attire, and that's the vibe I get immediately. Is I always have since I saw the original artwork for the halflings. It was kind of that kind of like playful, kids forever kind of feeling about them, where they, everything kids do. They play jokes and pranks on each other, and they, they're just, it just fits real perfectly. And I just can't help but just know that Joppa's a Zelda fan, and there's a little bit of inspiration sometimes tugging from those directions.
That's awesome. Now that you said that, I don't think I can unsee it.
Yeah.
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 You know what else is interesting to me is that the halflings are the nature race, and they have the tree city. It's not the elves, and so they have the giant tree city, and it's going to be I'll call it the new Kelithin.
Whoa!
Yeah. Everyone's already like throwing the comparison. It's like, oh, Tree City, it's got to be Kelithin.
You gotta be killed. Got to be some dead bodies piled up at the bottom.
Dude, I fell out of and killed myself like a billion times out of that city, and I hated it, which is why I never made Wood Elves, because I was like, there's no way I could function in this stupid thing. So I'm probably not gonna make a halfling either, because unless there's guardrails everywhere.
We're gonna have. Wait a minute. Are you asking Pantheon to go like kitty mode?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying for myself, I'm not gonna do it.
Draq just said he wants a very linear experience with guardrails.
Make them be able to be turned off though. For those of us.
Yeah, that's right. Just call them the Draq rails. I'm just calling them the Draq
Listen,
rails.
I'm just following Therek around everywhere anyway, so it really doesn't matter.
Well, that was your first mistake.
We all will be. Yeah, we all will be.
Well, I think before I go, I do want to bring one thing up just in case it's not brought up later tonight on the kind of less jovial side. I do get a twinge of disappointment actually throughout most of the stream as they're showing, mostly gray box. Do you guys feel they may be overhyped or kind of set expectations a bit too high before this stream for what was shown?
I mean, I don't think so. I see. The thing for me is that you have to understand how big it is for them to show anything, like to spoil exploration for them is a big deal, right? Because they've talked many times about, wanting to show their work, but also not wanting to spoil it for us as the future players of the game. So I think when you think about it from that angle, and look at it from, just to pull back the curtain value of this stream, I think is where that came from. So I wouldn't necessarily agree.
I do understand where you're coming from, though, because not gonna lie, inside our minds, when we hear anything, we get these grand expectations. And I was actually, I'm not gonna lie, I was sitting here expecting we were gonna see Wild's End in its finished state, right? And then as the stream started, I realized like, oh, we're not gonna get to see it in its finished state. We're gonna see it like this, which is fine, super cool. We're still getting to see some stuff, and it's new and it looks cool, and you can use your imagination to kind of assume what it might end up looking like in a final product. And I'm okay with that. But if I said I wasn't disappointed a little bit, of course I was, because I thought we were going to see something like finished, right? Which would have been super cool. Mm-hmm. But that's just either, and they've said a few things, and this is the thing I always try to keep in mind with the green or gray boxing, whatever you want to call it these days. Is that they did mention that one time something about that they have finished assets they could put in there, but they're not going to yet until they get to that certain point with the networking code, I believe it was, right, where it could handle more things happening at once or something to that effect. So ever since I heard that, that's just kind of what I do now. I'm like, well, there's no point putting those in there yet. I'd never thought of it from Therek's point of view, but that's good too, right? Like maybe we don't ever get to see it until we're super close to launch or we're in beta or alpha or something.
Right. Yeah. No. Exactly. But it's a good question though, Des. I mean, I'm glad you asked that question, because I can see why, I can see that perspective as well.
Yeah, I think anytime developers show gray box or early development of anything, there's always a bit of confusion, especially for newcomers or a lot of people in the stream that hadn't seen a stream in a while. And so I was a little kind of extremely had my ear tilted that way to see their reactions. Right. And I honestly don't know if it was very great for a lot of folks that maybe have been away for a while, that maybe came in for the last co-stream. Just trying to see it from their perspective, especially again because they hyped it a lot. They showed a screenshot of some finished content, which is kind of what I reference as far as expectations. So while I don't mind at all, while I don't mind at all seeing gray box, especially seeing the block out of the whole zone for reference and everything, it's awesome. But when I saw one comment here that's kind of retracted, but is it, basing expectations, they say on nothing, and it's like, well, if someone saw that screenshot, the expectation would be, maybe we'll see some more screenshots. So in a way, we got more. We got a whole fly through, but in a way, less because it's just gray box, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Ronik pointed out there was video too.
Yeah.
More than just a screenshot.
Right.
Yeah, I
Gotta
was gonna say I was a little. I didn't have any expectations for anything, but then when they got to the end and they showed the video, then I was like, okay, yeah, they're working on it, and that made
Right.
me pretty excited.
Yeah, the video was kind of the lifesaver, I think, if I'm trying to see this from the other perspective, because if I'm trying to go into this not being a person following the game a bunch, I think if it wasn't for that video at the end, I think people would be scratching their heads a little bit. Having said that, I loved the stream. I mean, I can't say enough. I love so many parts of the stream, and I hope some of the other topics that came up here really come to light.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to point that out, just as kind of I'm pretty sure people did see it that way a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. By the way, I think that there's an audience. There's several audiences, but one of them is the kind where it's like they don't care until it's almost done, right? Or you can never say I'm almost done, but it's almost finished, right? But I think for the point of development they're in right now, they can't appease those people yet, right? So I just think it's one of those things where until they get to that point, we just people like us are just excited about the development and the progress. They did a great job for us. The other audience that's expecting the game to come out here by the end of the year or something, you know what I mean? Like people that want it now. Yeah, they're not going to get much out of, I don't feel like, mini streams for a while. It's going to be a bit before they start being
Yeah, that's exactly
I agree.
right.
Joppa just
Right
said
on.
we're simply not ready for a ton of hype right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which totally makes sense. Like I said, I'm just trying to position myself as someone that doesn't follow the project closely.
Yeah, and you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Careful, Desrin. Pretty soon you're gonna be a troublemaker like me.
Hey, like I said, I just want to bring it up in case other people weren't going to bring it up, because I think it's worth talking about.
Absolutely,
And
is. No,
acknowledge
totally.
Yeah, it is. But I also have to throw out a warning that if you head down Draq's path, prepare to make many Twitter accounts.
You might get banned from stuff. Just FYI.
This path is a treacherous one.
Right on, Des. Okay, well, so we'll drop you out, but thanks for coming by, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me second in the show.
Yeah, that's
Later,
right.
Des.
Not the last. See you, man.
See you guys.
Good talking to you, Des.
All right, another one down, and we're gonna go with Idiotech. So, Idiotech, if you want to unmute yourself and get ready, we will pull you in now. Idiotech, hey man, how are you?
Idiot EQ.
I didn't call you Idiot EQ. You can talk.
You got it right.
It sounded correct to me.
There you are, man. You're a little quiet. Can you turn yourself up a little bit?
How's it now?
That's a little bit better. We'll just be quiet. Well, we won't say anything while you're talking.
I could do my input a little higher here too. How's it now? A little better.
That's better. Sure.
Better, yeah.
Awesome.
So what's up?
So
Good.
I will be honest. I'm halfway through the stream. I missed the initial stream, and I was like catching up while you all were talking. But already I'm halfway through, and I have plenty to talk about because
Right on. Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
What'd you like? What didn't you like?
You know, the first thought that came to my mind is, Jocko was talking about the scale of the world and kind of very early on, he's talking about the depth and the height and depth that we'll be able to get. And I think key, on the surface, if we were just to show this game to someone, I think the key difference between what we see in a lot of games, and the first game that came to mind was like Aeon Online. Do you remember Aeon or Ion?
I didn't play that one. Did you guys play that one?
No.
No,
I
okay, it
did.
was-
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure and I think it was of the era where flying was like just coming into MMOs, but I remember thinking, oh, that was such a beautiful game, but nothing that you saw you can get to. Everything was painted, and a lot of MMOs are like that now too. Everything is painted. It's pretty. The distance, oh, those mountains are pretty, but it's not there. You'll never be able to get there. And Pantheon's seeming to be not like that at all. Like what you see, you'll be able to get to, and that excites me.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that if you have a path and you can only go down the path, then getting to the mountains off into the distance isn't part of the plan.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. But it takes, I feel like that takes a lot of the life out of MMOs, and he really wanted to stress the scale of this world throughout the half of the stream I've watched so far. He's stressing the scale, and I see it. And it's not only that; it's not going to take 5 minutes to walk from point A to point B. It might take 2 hours in that same distance. So not only is it a more difficult world, everything you want you can get to. I just think it's going to make for a beautiful world, man.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. It's the joy of travel. If you're going to make a world this beautiful and this involved and brings you into it, make your time there valuable. Make your time there something you want to take that 20-minute walk from beginning to end, or however long it takes you to get where you want to go, right?
And I really like the environmental storytelling. I think the perception system will be key for that. It'll give, to me, the perception system, and I don't want to belittle that system at all. I hate to make it sound like this, but to me it seems like it will feel like that underlying story quest if there was one. Like if you want to know about the world, if you want to explore the ideas of the world, that's what's going to help. And if they're putting a lot of this environmental storytelling in it, that's that connection. That's the way I'm seeing it. So I don't know.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
No
I do too.
Final Fantasy, or I think someone in here has played Final Fantasy. Napalm,
Me.
have you played 11, right?
Yeah, we're all playing, it right now.
11, man.
Are you
Tuesday
playing it right now?
nights. Yeah.
Yep.
MMORPG
I
101 Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh,
I
man,
played it
haven't seen
extensively over my life, though.
Yeah. So for some reason, and this is my perspective, I'm sure it gives EQ fans a different idea. But do you remember getting to Kazam?
Yes. Yeah.
That area felt very much like that
That's
for
a
me
good
at the
point.
time. It
That's a
felt
good point.
super expansive. You got lost. Every turn you went through was bad. Every turn was the wrong choice. That's always what I remembered.
And it felt wild and untamed too. That's actually a really good reference. Yeah.
Yeah, it very much feels like, I'm going to make the wrong turn and I'm going to be lost. There's no maps in this game. That was my life in Kazam, was just getting lost, just not knowing where I was and yelling and shouting for people to help me.
Yeah, and you would get a group, they would already be there, and you would be like, you'd be like stressing out, like, I'm never going to make it to them. Where are they? Yeah.
I remember vividly sweating because I was like,
Yeah, me too. Like actually stressed out. Like I'm not gonna make it to my group. I don't know where they are.
And now I'm stressing them out, and they're just waiting for me to start and pull, and
and that brings up another good point too that I hadn't thought of before.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing all these points of interest and all this kind of stuff. And what's interesting is when the game launches, you just never know how the players will decide to explain things, since there's not a solid map, right? Like you never know, right? Like those players will come up with the craziest stuff, right? Like, hey, do you see where the two mountains, there's two and they both look the same shape. If you run right in between those and keep headed that, you just never know.
You really do make up your own markers for the world.
All I can think of right now is the ass up and EverQuest.
See, there's always stuff like that. You know, when you don't have a map and you have to explain, like, how do I get there? I'm here. And then players will just come up with these crazy things. And you got to have points of interest. You got to have interesting environments. You got to have things for people to reference to get their bearings and to explain things to other people.
Yeah. Yeah, this was, so like I'm saying, I'm only halfway through. I think I'm right around like the end of the well pond, but I'm already seeing just the makings of a zone that'll be incredible, and another layer to the world. The way they're making it seem is that, the depth in this world, it doesn't end here. They're not like, oh, only Wild's End will be like this. They're like, no, this is the Pantheon will be like this. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Right on, man.
excited.
Thanks for jumping in, Idiotech.
Of course.
Thanks,
man.
man.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank
for
you, man.
having me in. Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Cool. We'll talk to you next time.
Later.
Peace.
All right. We're moving through the green room. Let's see. Who do we want to grab next? I think Moobert's been there for a while, so let's grab Moobert. So, Moobert, you are coming on the air. Hey, Moobert. How are you?
Hey, thanks for playing. I'm doing great.
Yeah, good. So you've been hanging out in the green room. What are people talking about in the green room, and what did you like?
Sorry, what was that? Can you repeat that real quick?
I was just gonna say you've been in the green room for a while, so you've been talking in there. And what are people talking about, and what did you like about the stream?
Oh, well, mostly the conversation in the chat and everything has been about, speculation about the Moor and some halfling stuff. I'm not looking to play a halfling personally,
No.
but I am super interested in the halfling lore, the areas like the wild or the well pond and Wild's End, and the halflings in general have some really nice lore that I've been hoping for some beans for.
Right.
And, I think like putting on my tinfoil hat here, but I think we might have gotten like the barest hint of a bean.
Mm-hmm.
Which was like you mentioned earlier, Therek, where certain groups within the Moor are looking to inflict their influence on the well pond.
Absolutely.
And I recall because I actually spend quite a bit of time listening to Chris Kane's Keepers series.
Awesome.
And if I recall correctly, there's a group in the Moor called, or like an entity within the Moor called the Cess.
Yes, the creeping cess.
Yes, and I maybe a little bit tinfoil hat, but it made me think of well pond, cesspool maybe.
Oh, yeah, there you go. And you actually reminded me of the name of the reptilian race that's been in the lore before was the Murvakai, and I think they've referenced them since then too on some streams, but I could be wrong. But yeah, you're right. That creeping cess, it always sort of conjured up an image of like a raid boss for me, or some sort of a boss mob, named mob that everyone would aspire to try and take out. But who knows, right? It could be anything. But
Okay.
I was thinking throughout this whole stream, I kept saying to Draq because we were watching it, and I said, I got to make another lore video because there was a lot of lore, and Ronik read most of the lore, right, from JN, and I think that we learned a whole bunch. Like there was like how many concept art slides, right? Like it felt like tons, like 10, 15 concept art slides, and all those little notations on the slides, right? You can look at all those and go through each one and pick out the little bits of lore from them, and you put it all together and you get this cohesive sort of, cohesive, not complete obviously, but you can make some assumptions, and then you can start putting some things together, right? Like you're talking about. I really dig that. Obviously that's something that speaks to me.
I picture it right now. Therek's gonna print out the pictures with the writing on it, and then he's got his like Sherlock Holmes magnifying glass, and he's like reading the little words.
Pushes
Right.
some red thumbtacks, connects them all with.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
with yarn,
Oh.
with yarn.
And I hail from Florida. I'm originally the swamp state boy. I kind of agree with Nathan there. I'm looking forward to some snake men.
Snake people.
Yep, snake
We're,
people.
we're trying to make it a thing. First
Alex
expansion.
Jones, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Awesome point, Moobert. I really enjoyed that. I think you were right. I'm glad you reminded me because I wanted to mention all the lore that was revealed throughout this. I mean, you think about it, like there was so much, like there was something for everybody. There was lore, there was 3D renders, there was like 5, 6, 7 different like videos and flyovers and all kinds of stuff. Like it just there was all kinds of craziness going on here. So
And so
you
much
know,
room for speculation too.
yeah, absolutely. That's the fun part.
Am I the only one? Is this only happened to me because I like puppets, maybe? But the labyrinth, what was it called? The bog of stench or unquenching stench or what? Anybody know what I'm talking about with David Bowie and the puppets?
Oh, I remember it, but I can't remember the name either.
That's what I think of when I see the more. I'm like, it's just so disgusting that I don't know if you'll just be able to just walk through it, like it, you'll stink forever kind of thing or whatever.
Nice. Right on. Anything else, Moobert, that you wanted to talk about?
Last thing I suppose, just based on the green or gray box map that they had going on. Of course, I'm no one who's against green or gray boxing. I understand the work that's involved in it. But just I'm so happy with what was mentioned here. There is, just from my own experience with getting things like this set up, very limited though it may be, that a lot of work's been going on here. And just even if they didn't talk very much about it, the drop of the HDRP being finished, such great things to be hearing, especially since it's the rendering pipeline, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the pipeline has been prepared. Let the content flow.
That's the big one.
Yeah,
But that's all I got.
It's a good one. Right on, man. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
See you later, man.
See you, man.
Later.
All right, moving through the green room, we got 3 folks left. LaFale's been there for a while too, so let's bring him in. So LaFale, if you're ready, unmute yourself and we will bring you in. LaFale, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, how you going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I am currently wireframing.
You're wireframing. What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm working. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Do not endanger yourself just to talk on Pantheon PlusYou, please.
Right on. So, what did you think? What did you think of the stream? What impressed you, or what didn't?
I enjoyed it. It's kind of what I expected to be shown. So, unlike probably some of the others, I wasn't disappointed. I was actually pretty impressed. I wasn't expecting to see a fully finished zone or any group play. What immediately sprung to mind was a wellspring when that was shown, was what we can expect to experience in such an environment, and how that might encourage other races, not just halflings, to adventure there. So obviously the Dark Mire.
Yeah, if they can get past the halfling guards, they might be able to take a trip into the well pond. You never know. But it does seem like a good place for a race with underwater abilities and some freedom to get there. So maybe they'll have a place. Who knows? It's a good one. Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. Just want to say congratulations to VR. I thought it was a job well done, and I'm interested to see what else 2021 brings. I think we're on a good trajectory towards alpha, whenever that may be. So yeah, just keep it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Just on that, it's one of the things I sort of thought right at the beginning of the stream, and you see a zone like this, and you just realize that VR's like swinging for the fences, right? Like they're not. This is not like they're not just like sort of half-assing it. You know what I mean? Like they're going for it. Like this is like no joke. When you make a zone like this with this kind of scale, it's like they're not holding back, right? They're pushing for their vision to be realized, and I think that's what your comment sort of says to me. Is I agree. So good one.
series for us to discover. You know, where the world is not finished yet, so a lot more surprises and cool reveals to be made, I'm sure.
Agreed. Right on, man. Okay, well, we'll let you go.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. All right, bye.
Talk to you soon, man.
Yeah, see you, man.
Hey, Therek, I got a question before you bring the next person in.
Okay.
So, King's Reach, right? Is it still the quote unquote 3 good races that are in King's Reach? The humans, the dwarves, and the halflings? Those are the 3.
No, the dwarves are not.
Oh, no,
the
it's the elves.
Humans.
The humans, the elves, and the
halflings.
And they're the quote unquote good races? Is that still a thing? I remember hearing that a long time ago. And then like the dwarves, the not the erudites, the archive, and the who's the other one?
Well, the dwarves are good. The dwarves are definitely one of the good races. Like,
are they? I thought they were neutral.
No, they're like the father race of the like. They've been here since like the beginnings. Like they're one of the sort of OG races, and they I would classify them as a good race. But I mean that's all sort of not. I don't think it's all sort of set in stone. I don't think it's all been permanently defined. I mean we know that the ogres and we know that the Darkmer are not good races, but we don't know exactly where they fit into everything.
Scar definitely evil.
Yes.
What? The Scar. Say this is so
shocking. All right. So let's keep going with the green room. What do you guys think?
That sounds good.
Okay, so we're next up. We're going to bring in Raydell. So Raydell, if you want to unmute yourself, we will talk to you. Raydell, hey man.
Hey, how's it going?
Really well.
Hey.
Really well. What's up?
So there's a couple things. There's a couple beans too, I think, that was dropped that no one really paid attention to either. But when it comes to the beginning that we've seen, with the green stuff and the blocking and how that is, BR's done a very good job of building us up to expect more. That's the first thing I'm going to say, because look at all the great content they've put out in the last 3 or 4 streams. We haven't seen green boxing in a while. And so I think we all came in here expecting a little bit more due to the fact they've done such a great job with the last few streams with the and you guys all playing in there and everything else. So that really kind of pumps up that thing. And, they did talk about before too about the network stacking and how that was going to make the getting into this environment quicker. Well, he just said he finished it. We knew they were working on it, so I can't expect them to take and totally, do this area when they're trying to make it so they can do everything really quick. They had to put a pause on this stuff to do that. At least that's what I'm getting from what Joppa was saying. Am I off on that?
I
No.
hadn't even thought of it actually. Yeah, I think sounds like you're dead on actually.
So now that's passed, since we're all on the same page there. There's, I think, more than one dungeon in this zone that you guys aren't thinking about. Because when you're talking about the pond, if you look at the black and white little picture of the pond there's a dotted line that appears to me like a zone line right before the bottom of it. And it really makes me wonder if that isn't a complete zone down there underneath. And he talked about, there's some structures down there with some ruins and stuff. Well, that really speaks to me that might be something a lot more than what we're thinking. And there's nothing to say that there's a lot more dungeon zones in a zone than what Therek was saying there of 1 per. So I really think there's one more down there, just from what we've seen on that.
Didn't Joppa say all bodies of water aren't created equal?
Yeah,
He did.
he did. Yeah.
That kind of hints to maybe a dungeon zone underneath the pond, right?
Yeah, it does. It sounds super intriguing. Derek, you should be careful promising 1 dungeon per second.
I knew you were gonna do
Reckless.
that.
So reckless of you.
Oh man, I'm getting quotes misattributed to me. Let's be clear that it was Mr. NathanNapalm that said that, not me. I would never make such a reckless statement in such a public forum like this. Please. I have a reputation to protect. Nathan, his reputation is his business, but
Yeah, I don't have a reputation. I play with puppets.
He messes with puppets. There's no going up from there.
There was also a big hint on how big these trees are, and there's nothing to say that one of these trees doesn't have something going on inside one of them as well.
I did think about that, yeah, for sure. You know it will. They won't just build. They wouldn't let it take up that much real estate without doing something cool. Just knowing how they are.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've seen the guy, and then he goes off. Jabba says, "Yeah, and these are the small trees." Okay,
Right,
so if these are
right.
small trees and they're already a 10-story building, then what can they do with that we're not, that they didn't show us, that they don't want to show us? That says a lot. What really kind of got me is I'm sitting here watching Nathan in here, and I'm going, I'm surprised he's not talking about the fact that this could be an undead dungeon, that's top-end undead dungeon over here with these wraiths.
Oh, I think it definitely
he's a paladin.
will be. Yeah, I think it definitely will be. I don't like to press my luck, but yeah, I would 100% think that, right? Like, I'm going to bring a cleric with me and go in there for sure, because if this is like the place of the wraiths in the lore, then it's certain to be filled with just all kinds of nasty undead. Yeah, which is super exciting for me.
Yeah.
So when they add paladin to the halflings, you're going to be a halfling paladin, so that way you can fight wraiths, right?
No, I like doing the run. Remember what Draq was talking about? So I'm going to do the run to the halfling place and be friends with the halfling rogues there, and then we'll go from there.
Remember, Nathan has to be a human. He's being forced to be a human by his wife, so he can maintain that relationship. That's where Nathan's at.
Unless VR opens things up a little bit, right? I love the thought of a dwarf paladin, but my wife thinks dwarves are super ugly. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Is right.
Happy wife, happy MMO life. So
Preach it, brother.
Yeah. Awesome. Right on, Raydale. Those are great bring ups, man. That was fun. Anything else?
No, not really. I just kept seeing that dotted line, and I kept going, "What is that? That's got to be something." Because they wouldn't just put a dotted line at the bottom of that well for no reason.
So true.
And so that really, at least I'm thinking that it's a deal of being another zone there. And then when they talk about the size of trees, it's like, okay, there's got to be more to just the size of those trees than just them being big trees. There's going to be something hidden in that zone, especially a zone that is going to be that big. You got to have something going on. Even if the overland dungeon, you might not zone into another, but there may be a few hollow trees with some serious camping going on inside with some bosses or something. It's going to be an interesting place to go. It's going to be a little tough for what I plan on playing, but we'll see how it goes.
Sparrow says, the pic says at the bottom, something bigger down there, a huge cave.
Nice.
Well, there you
what
go.
It says.
Nice. That's awesome.
Sparrow has investigated.
Yeah. Well, Raydale, that'll be the first thing you do when Pantheon launches. Your first task is to get over there and find out what's down there and tell us what's down there.
Yes.
The first thing I'm going to have to do is figure out how to get from one island to another island, because I do want to play the Scar, and that's going to be a little bit of a
Draq will port you. He's a wizard.
Oh.
He'll do it. Right on. Thanks, Raydale.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
See you, man.
For a modest price, I port people.
A modest price. You haven't charged a modest price in 20 years.
It's a true story.
Hey, it's based on the market. What can he do?
Hey, what can I supply and demand?
Where's the friends and family discount, man? Where's the Pantheon PlusYou discount? The guy just called in, and you're gonna charge him full price. What's wrong with you?
I'm like Amazon. I call it a discount, but it's actually like 10% more than the regular price.
That's right. There's hidden costs involved.
I got expenses.
Keeping those spells memmed ain't free, man.
Yeah, listen, I got to sit there and med in the back, so
Nice. All right. Next up is Tetsu. Been waiting in the green room for a while, so let's bring Tetsu in. Tetsu, hey man, how are you? I didn't give you much of a heads up, so there you go.
Tetsu.
What's up, Tetsu?
No, can you hear us?
He's probably trying to mute the thing and.
Yeah. Stop the.
Tetsu
Can you guys hear
voices.
me?
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah,
There
I
we
can
go.
hear you.
Awesome. Hey, how y'all doing?
Really, really
Great.
well, man. How are you?
Awesome. I'm doing well.
Yeah,
So
what's on your
yeah,
mind?
I was it was mentioned before, but I've always said this, and whenever I describe Pantheon to people and I try to preach the gospel, I mention Breath of the Wild quite often. I know Joppa loves it. So because you could see it from the climbing to the acclimation system to the elf people. I mean, the halflings, they look like young Link to me. Me personally, I love it all. But yeah, that's I just see so much of it, which is great. Um, Even the little sound effect for the perception. I forget what it was. Something in Breath of the Wild happens there, and it's a similar sound effect. So I love all that. Um, Another thing, and obviously his cup too. Um, what else we got? The landscape and the climbing. So with that, I worry that people will abuse it, right? They'll jump around, they'll skip over here. I remember like in WoW and Classic WoW, people jump off cliffs to get somewhere or do something like that. So that's something that is it's tricky. I'm sure that they'll get it down, and you can do things like you've got like you can only climb so much before you get tired. You can only dive so deep before you get tired. Using spells, things like that to get you deeper. But I was just thinking how they're gonna use even um mob placement to try and direct the players, kind of like a guardrail, you could almost. And so it's just interesting how they're going to use it. I was thinking about specifically with the gate that's on the screen now. They might have mobs, so you're not climbing over the side of the cliff and jumping down into the gate. They may have to have certain mobs right on the edges, so there's no spiders that can climb walls. I think Joppa said at some point. So just a lot of when you add that dimension of climbing and diving as well, it you have to kind of think of the world in a different manner.
Yeah.
And when you think about how big everything, like they talk right at the top about insects, as big as trees, and then these massive creatures. You think of like if you're trying to scale a tree, I mean, if the creature and the everything that is aggressive towards you can just knock you right off. I mean, it takes that into account too. And those narrow pathways up the mountains, like it's not just going to be, unfettered access. There's going to be real threats.
Yeah, and it makes me think of when I had the interview with Ben Dean, and I was saying like something to the effect of, players always find crazy ways to do crazy things, and how will you guys approach that post launch? And he pretty basically what he said was, it kind of depends on how cool it is, right? Like, is what they figured out cool, or is it breaking the game and ruining it, right? So ruining it, we'll fix it, we'll find a way to circumvent it, etc. If it's cool and we're like, hey, we didn't think of that, but that's pretty freaking awesome, then hey, that's just the kind of gameplay they kind of want. So I think there'll be some of that post launch where some players are going to cheese some stuff for sure. And I'm not talking bad about people that cheese things, because if I know there's a way to cheese something, I'm totally going to do it too, right? But I think it's territory. But like, there'll definitely be some of that, right? Because when you create this much freedom, you're going to run into issues where people are going to find really creative ways to do things super not intended, right?
Yeah, so true.
Yeah. I was thinking about also the distance too. He's how it took 20 minutes to get across the that zone, just walking across with his GM powers. I'm sure it's not going to be 20 minutes to just walk across as a normal player or low level player, whatever it might be. And so in that, I thought, okay, well, a lot of people will just map everything out within 24 hours, whatever people are gonna go hard, and they're gonna find out, almost map it out. But the fact that the zone is so large and there's there won't be much fast travel, or there won't be flying mounts or anything like that. Some of these areas I'm thinking are going to be, you want to put like the hardest ore to mine or whatever mob deep in the butt crack of the zone, and people are just not going to want to get there. So even though they know it's there, it's going to be hard. It's just going to be a pain in the butt to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's part of the deal. That's part of the deal. It's a good point. Right on, man. Cool. Good points. Thanks for jumping in. Any last words?
Oh, the last thing is, I'm thinking that the snake people should each drop, depending the type of snake person, should drop one boot or another boot to make a complete set, a special set.
I love it, and I think that is exactly how it should be done.
I agree. That would be a nice homage.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Tetsu.
Later,
See you
Tetsu.
later, man.
See ya.
All right, you guys. I also want to mention that the on demand YouTube video looks like I just got a notification that the video is already up. So if you didn't catch the stream, because a lot of people had said they only saw half of it or whatever.
Fast.
Yeah, it's already there. So like, just after we're done here, if you haven't seen it, go over and check it out, or watch it while we're talking and do both at the same time, right?
It's gonna be a late night, fellas.
Oh,
It's gonna be a late
goodness.
night because I usually watch these things several times until I'm like, I caught you.
That's right.
I know what's happening here.
Is that shades of minus? Is that too much of an assumption there?
Oh, there's no such thing as too much shades of minus. Okay, so we got two more people in the green room. We're gonna go with Maximus Velocity next. So Maximus, if you're there and you want to unmute yourself, we'll put you in. And if I can do it properly, that is. Hold on. There we go. Maximus, hey man.
Hey guys, how are y'all doing?
Really, really well. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I don't think we've ever talked to you before.
Nope, never jumped in before. I'm active in the forums and stuff, but not here. So
New
good to
blood.
finally talk.
Yeah, new blood.
Yeah, something like that. 2015 new blood, however you want to look at it.
Right on, man. So what's on your mind?
So one of the things I wanted to talk about, Radiel said that he thought the dotted lines were zone lines. I really think they're atmosphere breaks. So you're going to be able to go to the top area until you get acclimated, then you can go to the next area, and then you can go to the next area. That just makes sense, right? So I'm interested to see that. I think we're going to see that same type of breakdown whenever you talk about the verticality of the zones where they can go 3,000 meters or whatever the number you said. I think it'll be the same thing backwards. As you go up, you're going to have the same breaks as well, right? So I really think that's going to be something we're going to have to look at and be mindful of as we go through. You're not going to be able to see the whole thing all at once. You're going to explore the top area, and then you're finally, after 20 levels, going to get acclimated and have to go back to see what was next. And then go back to see what was next over and over again. I really think that's going to drive you to explore the entire world over and over and over, because every time you go to the zone, even though you've been there before, you're going to see something new, because now, 10 levels later, you're more acclimated. I think that's a perfect way to drive exploration.
That's a great point.
Epic.
Yeah. So, go ahead, guys.
I was just real quick just going to say, and that's what makes people want to come back to your game, right? Like there's tons of them, right? And I don't know if all of them are tangible, but one of them is definitely that feeling of like, oh, cool, I want to go there, but I can't yet. But one day I'm going to go there. Especially, it gets really crazy when you see somebody else who can go there and you literally watch them go through some threshold you can't do yet. And you're like, man, that's going to be me one day. Those kind of things are really good for exploration, obviously, but also they're good for that like you're at work all day and all day you're like, as soon as I get home, I'm going to log into Pantheon. As soon as I get home, I can't wait. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to get closer to this, or I might be able to do that or this. And all these things are all options. Then you log on, you're like, hey guys, I want to get a group together to go. We're going to go try to do this thing, whatever it is. And then, maybe that's not even what you end up doing. That's just that's the cycle of addiction that we all want to make it feel like home. But that's where we want to be, right?
Mom, we're not addicted to this game. I swear, Mom. It's fine.
It's a healthy addiction. It's fine.
I would also like to say that part of the really cool thing for me with that is in a game where you die and there's going to be some kind of corpse recovery, either for experience or equipment or whatever, that allows high-level people with better acclimated gear to pass through the zone and help the low-level people as they're adventuring. So if you're in your 20s and you die at the high level, but and you die and there's high level people passing through, you can be like, hey man, can you like clear this guy out so we can get our stuff back? And
Right.
and those form like everlasting, amazing moments of relationship between people when you do that type of stuff, and it gives you this relationship that you never get from joining a random group and just running straight through and getting to the boss and then leaving. So I'm
Absolutely.
excited. I'm
I
excited
did-
about that.
I just hope your corpse doesn't sink when you die.
Well,
I know
that's
who
what
to
they have
ask.
fishing poles for.
Yeah, you gotta ask Ronick. He tests all that for them.
He would know. Absolutely. Going back to the point about seeing something that you can't get to, Jop even brought it up in one of the streams where there was like a little hole in the cave wall that you could see through into another room, and there was like a statue in that room. And he was like, this is one of the things that kind of drives us, because it's like, what's in there? How do I get there? How do I get around to the entrance to this room? And then several levels later, you finally figure out how to get there. And it's like, oh, awesome, right? So it, once again, constantly driving that need to explore. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Next thing I wanted to point out, I played EQ1 forever. Actually met my wife there. The scale that he was talking about, especially the giant area, reminded me of Keldr's Call, right? So you're in the giant city, you're walking around. I played a halfling druid, right? So I was a midget, and it took forever to get up the stinking stairs because you had to jump and go around where, the normal size people were like, yeah, what's the big deal? And you're like, no, you don't understand. I hate this zone. If I don't have levitate, I'm going down. I'm never going uphill. Forget about it. Right?
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see that scale, and I hope the giant fort and Dreadlands and some of the over there. I think. Anyway, you got those different areas that really bring that scale to mind, and I hope to relive some of that again through the scale that they're looking at. I think that's super cool.
Yeah, I me too, man. Me too, absolutely. That's just a good feeling, and I think it came across in the stream very, very well. Anything else before we let you go?
Yeah, real quick, the HDRP bean drop. I'm like, what the heck? It's like one of the most important bits of information for this whole stream. When he's like casually off the cuff at the very end. Oh yeah, by the way.
I wasn't sure about that because I wasn't sure if that'd been said already, so I wasn't like sure if that was a bean or not. But that was my thinking too. But I kind of hesitated to say it because I'm like, wait a minute, have they said that already? I don't know. But
yeah, not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
I follow everything, and I haven't seen that I know they were working on it, but that they said that it was finished. No, I hadn't heard that yet.
Awesome.
Real quick, in the picture of the gate, I don't know if you'll notice on the back side of the gate where they showed the waterfalls and stuff. If you look down at the bottom left, there are caves down there. Can't wait to see what's down there.
I did not notice that.
Yeah, there are caves down on the back side of that where, I'm thinking about, he was talking about base jumping in the city and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to jump down there and see what's down there and have to figure out how to get back up.
Yes.
It's gonna be
100%.
awesome. And then
Right
one
on.
other thing, I gotta give a shout out to all the autists out there in the group, because how the heck did y'all see those humans for scale in those pictures? Somebody pointed out the one
pretty
for
small.
the well pond, and it was like a little bitty black dot. I'm like, how the heck did he see that? And then once he pointed it out, I could see it. So anyway, yeah, good talking to you
man.
guys. Glad
That's
I enjoyed
great.
the stream.
Yeah, don't be a stranger, man. Come back for sure.
Yeah, it was great
Will do.
takes. Keep coming back.
Yeah,
Yeah, really good takes.
right on. See you, dude.
Totally stealing some of those takes for videos.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, me too.
You
I
just
was
made
like,
Nathan's next 3 videos right there.
Yeah, yeah,
We're
okay.
all sitting here making notes. Okay, remember Maximus Velocity said this. Yeah, that's right. All right, we got our last green room participants. We got Crypt Fox, buddy of ours, guild member of the Plus Guild, and also Twitch streamer himself. So, Crypt, if you are ready, then you want to unmute yourself. We'll bring you in. There we are, Crypt Fox. Hey, what's up, dude?
How's it going?
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going great.
Good.
I'm not coming in too loud, am I?
No,
you're
you
good.
sound great. Although you are the caboose tonight, so.
Well, I love bringing it up and finishing it out.
Nice. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so like anybody who's ever run like a D&D game, I know there's a lot of people probably watching. Uh, when you think of like the story that you're going to tell, you always have to take the environment into consideration, right? So looking at what they showed tonight is just pouring with like personality, because the environment itself has its own personality, its own role to play in the storytelling. So you
Yeah.
could see the mountains, the plains of it, and the valleys, and like what is underneath. So right off the top of my head, there's a lot to be told by exploring inside the mountains or up above the ground. With the scale of the trees being so big, there could be something up above the clouds or down in the water in the caves, like people are pointing out. And even more so, the race of the halflings and the type of terrain that they have, it makes you start to wonder, how do they get around, right? They're not going climbing up and down the trees. They're not always taking elevators up and down. So for example, it could be, say, like a vine network of zip lines from tree to tree or down to the ground, or even down from the ground to get back up into the trees. You have to go and visit a giant dandelion vendor that you take the dandelion over to a geyser that'll pull you up into the tree. You know what I'm saying? So you think about all these little nuanced type of things when you start thinking about the environment itself.
Yeah, yeah, and whenever I hear vines, of course, we have to think of druids in Pantheon, right? And their ability to create bridges. The vine woven bridge is one of their skills or spells. So, I mean, this seems like the perfect place for it, right? It's the kind of place where you're going to rely on that, or a rogue to, throw down a rope. You're right. These are the kinds of things that create stories just because of the way the environment's designed. So,
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
I would just like to say, as an archive, if I have to make a vine bridge and find a druid to make a vine bridge to get around your city, I'm never ever visiting.
No, you just start like touching the little lighted cracks on your skin, and you can make your own little light bridge.
Or you can just burn the place down, Draq.
Or burn it down. Oh, that's way better. That sounds way more Draq than finding a druid.
Or more so, you step into the valley, you see, oh, trees, vines. Nope, and turn right back around.
It's probably
20-minute walk. Nope.
Probably closer.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. I think that's wonderful, and I think that's part of why the lore is so important to me, because it feeds that aspect of the environment. So I see this area, and I think, okay, I know the backstory for this area. So yeah, good point.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you want, like, I really think that they're showing us probably about 25 to 30% of the zone, like right there, what's on the surface. It's everything else that's hiding in the mountains, in the sky, below the ground. Like that's the stuff that I really want to check out, because I work with developers in my job, and I know that there's a lot of nuance behind the scenes. So I can't wait to discover those secrets.
Well, just very relevant to what you just said. Joppa's in chat. He said, there's things that he's glad that we don't know yet, because it would make the wait unbearable, right? So,
Yeah, true.
Well, I know that just from listening to, because I caught the stream a little bit later, so I'm gonna go back and watch it. But just listening to Joppa, I could tell that there's things sitting in the back of his brain that he really wants to tell us, but he's holding back some really big things, and that's good.
Absolutely, I agree. Yeah, that is good. I think that it's hard to do, but we'll appreciate it at the end of the day.
Just a little pressure on Joppa, though. The longer you keep the secrets, the more you have to live with it.
That's true.
Awesome. That's so good. It's so good. Yeah, put that on your like Discord avatar or something, that make that your motto, your slogan.
I'm gonna put it on a T-shirt. That's what.
There you go. There you go. Right on. Anything else, Crypt, that you wanted to bring up?
Nah, that's all. You guys are doing great.
Thanks, man. Thanks for stopping in. And we expect you to drop by again at some point.
Absolutely.
See you
Yeah,
later,
great
Crypt.
commentary, man.
Have a good night.
See you guys. Bye.
Everybody should
All
go,
right, guys.
Everybody should go. Make sure you check out Crypt Fox on Twitch. Make sure you
Yes.
go watch him stream some stuff. He's a good streamer.
Yep. No, streaming all the time. Lots of always something going on there. So yeah, definitely check that out. That's it, guys. That's the green room. How are we doing? Anything we want to wrap up? Anything you guys want to?
I just wanted to end with what what we're doing next. So Nathan, what are you doing?
Well, I have finished the D&D Choose Your Own Adventure campaign. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's pretty sweet. You can play D&D on my YouTube channel now where you choose what happens in each video. It's super crazy long. That's why I've been kind of not releasing much content lately. But it's over now. Now I'm just doing some patches and fixing some stuff where it's so tangled. It got a little tangled in some spots. Now it's back to making content like I used to. So this is a great time to come out from the D&D because now we've got lots of Pantheon stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you guys haven't gone through the D&D thing at least 5 times, you need to go over and do that because it's super fun. Therek and I did it on a stream. I've done it with my kids. Like, it's fantastic.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun. And other people have streamed it. Like, it's becoming a thing. Like, people are streaming this as part of their thing to do. And it's laughs all the time. It's just constant fun. So I can't recommend it enough. So, and great job on that, finishing that, Nathan. That's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Right on.
What about you, Therek? What are you
Anything
upcoming?
For me?
Oh, for Therek. Therek, what are you? What's upcoming on your plate?
Well, we have, as everybody knows, we have the rewind every week. We are just we're finishing some of the new lore that was released in the last newsletter. We're getting through reading that. So if you enjoy lore and you enjoy my voice a little bit, you can check that out because we should be finishing it up this week on the rewind. Other than that, I don't know. I guess there's probably a lore video coming up at some point with a lot of lore in this stream that I'm going to have to decipher now. Although I might wait for the newsletter next week I don't know if we are or we aren't, but we might get it actually all written out rather than just having to go back and rewatching the stream. But one way or another, there will be a lore video on the way at some point. So yeah, that's what I'm up to.
Nice. And I am putting together more plus profiles. I am hard on track to get to 50 because once I hit 50 plus profiles, or once I hit 49 plus profiles, I'm going to be spamming VR and to get someone from VR to do one. That's my goal. And also Pantheon Plus as a group and Poi, the unseen hero, we are also super close. Dare I say the next couple of weeks we're going to push out forums for the Pantheon Plus website. So that's going to be super exciting for Pantheon Plus.
Yeah, that's been in the works for a while. So I know that's going to be something that we're all looking forward to getting done and off our plates and moving on to the next stage of developing the site. But the forums are coming.
Oh, and Desiree says, and a general website update. Yes. And so it's going to be a big update for the Pantheon Plus website. So we're super excited about that.
Right.
All right, guys. I think that's all I got. Anybody else want to say anything before we take off?
No. Fun time. Good time, everybody. Thanks for jumping in the green room, everybody. We had a lot of people in the green room tonight. That's awesome.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. I had a blast. Nathan, thank you. And,
thanks for having me again.
Everybody have a good night.
Have a good night, all. Pantheon Plus was founded on the idea of community matters. Our mission is to foster the most engaged, kind, and helpful community that any MMORPG has ever seen. Your participation fuels not only different ideas from different points of view, it's also the foundation of everything we do at Pantheon Plus. We strive to be the megaphone that gets your opinions and viewpoints out there to be discussed. And the best part is, more than any other game we've seen, the devs are listening.
So we invite and encourage you to drop in on Discord and leave a question for the Rewind. Or maybe you'd prefer to join the Green Room and add your 2 cents to the newest content that is dropped for Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. Or maybe you want to write some fan fiction and put it on the Pantheon Plus website. Or if you're really brave, you could do a Plus profile with me and tell everyone about your MMO gaming history.
We want you to stop lurking in the background and start to make your mark on the world of Terminus. So when that glorious day comes and Pantheon launches, everyone will know the name of your adventurer. Community matters.
#CommunityMatters.